True or false, if my spouse cheats, I get everything. That's false. And unfortunately, this is a myth that does exist. People believe that if their spouse cheats, that they get more, or if they themselves cheat, that they're going to lose everything. The reality is that's not really considered in most circumstances. Infidelity is emotionally taxing. It can cause a lot of heartache and trauma. But when we get actually into the divorce process, it's not something that the court's going to take into consideration in most cases. There's one exception. If there's a lot of money spent on this affair, that may be considered when we're dividing what's left over. But in most cases, having an affair does not impact a divorce. So what if my spouse cheats? Does that mean I get custody of the children? The answer is no. Infidelity is emotionally taxing. It's hard for people to go through, but an affair in and of itself does not impact child custody. Now, when does it impact child custody? Well, if somebody's making poor decisions around children, that may impact child custody. In other words, if your spouse is bringing around their girlfriends and boyfriends around the kids all the time, and there's a new one every other week, that really goes to that parent's decision-making ability and what is appropriate for them to be around the children. It has nothing to do with the actual affair itself. So you have to understand, an affair is emotionally taxing, but it doesn't impact the custody of your children. All right, I'm going to talk about one of the most painful myths, or really one of the most painful truths in a divorce, and that is, I've had clients come to me saying, if my spouse cheated on me, that means I don't have to pay spousal support or alimony or what we call maintenance. That is not true. Unfortunately, this is one of the hardest things for my clients to have to understand, that they can feel like they went out and cheated on me, and yet I still have to give them money on a monthly basis. And the answer sometimes is yes. You see, divorce in Illinois is a no-fault divorce state. So we don't start allocating blame towards one party or the other. They cheated for a reason. Whether it was a good reason or not, that doesn't change the outcome. Now, if they go and move in with somebody else, that's a different story. But if they have an affair, that doesn't relieve you of the obligation to pay maintenance. Right or wrong, that is the fact. And it's better to know it now than to start this process under some false beliefs, believing that it's not going to happen to you. Because the reality is, their infidelity doesn't change maintenance obligations. I recently had a client come to me, and quite frankly, they were embarrassed to tell me that they had been having an affair, that it had ended, but they were afraid that the court was going to use that against them, that the court was going to somehow judge them as a person on their morality, and that was going to impact child custody or maintenance or division of assets. The good news for this person was it doesn't. The reality is, infidelity is just that. It's infidelity. That's between the two adults. It doesn't change the impact of the relationship with the children. It doesn't change who gets what in the divorce. It just simply means that that person stepped out on the marriage. Now, right or wrong, you may disagree with that, but a judge is not supposed to use that against you. I can tell you this, judges are people, and could they consider it? I guess they could, but we'll never know, because I don't know any judge that would actually come out and say, I'm judging you because you had an affair. So you have to have those thoughts go out of your head, because the judges are to decide the cases based upon the law and the facts presented to them, not based upon who had an affair. So I had someone come to me recently that owns a business, and they said, hey, I'm really scared. I had an affair and I'm afraid I'm going to lose my business. And I said, tell me more. Well, he's afraid that if his wife found out that he had an affair, that he's going to lose his business. And I told him that, listen, whether or not you guys get a divorce or what happens as a result of this, I can tell you this. There's nothing in the law that says you lose your business because you had an affair. She's not going to get any more or less than she otherwise would based upon the affair. So having an affair is emotionally taxing and it's traumatic for the people involved, but You don't need to worry about losing your business or anything else simply because of the affair. So if you're married and there's been an affair, give my office a call. We're going to figure out, where are you now? Where do you want to be? And we're going to create a plan of action to help get you from where you are to where you want to be in a way that makes sense for you.